Welcome everybody to Conspiracy 420, the Son of Sam Chronicles with Carl Denaro. I'm Rocker Mike, Rob Rossi to my left.
Hello.
We're going to talk about today the second Forest Hills shooting related to the Son of Sam. This was March 8th, 1977, just a few weeks after the Christine Freud John Deal shooting. This is related to Virginia Voskerichian. She was a Columbia University student that was walking home from the subway station on Queens Boulevard in Forest Hills into Forest Hills Gardens, very close to the last shooting, basically around the corner. There's a couple of different aspects to this compared to all the other shootings that I want to get into. First of all, this was the only shooting that involved one person. Okay, every shooting with the Son of Sam involved couples, pretty much, either
or at least two
people. You had the two girls in Floral Park,
right?
But mostly it was couples or two people. This was one person. She was shot right here, pretty much between the building and this tree, if you could see it. She was coming back from Columbia. She was a student there, and she got off the train, which was right over here on Queens Boulevard. And this was about maybe 4 or 5 weeks after the John Deal and Christine Freud shooting.
Wow.
So the neighborhood was aware. They were on edge about another murder. People were worried about that. And this happened at 7:30 at night, so it was very brazen.
Oh, it was early there.
It was early.
Yeah, and it also broke the mold from previous shootings and subsequent shootings, because this, like Mike said, it happened like 7:30 in the evening on I believe it was a Tuesday. All the other shootings happened on the weekends after 12 o'clock, after midnight.
Oh wow!
So it totally broke the mold.
Would you say that was intentional?
You would have to think.
Right.
I mean,
to throw off the cops.
Just based on that, it was a single woman by herself, which was different in itself. The timing, the date, the fact that it was early evening, the fact that it was during the week and not a weekend. I guess you could make an assumption that it was to throw the cops off. I'm not really sure if that was the case. More importantly, she was as Mike said, she was a student in Barnard College, which is part of Columbia University, and she had a schedule, so they would know. Anyone that was following her, they would know that what train station she got off. They apparently knew where she lived, and I think they were I'm sure they were lying in wait for her.
Virginia was walking home, which was a few blocks from the subway. She lives south of the subway station. She was walking at Continental, made a right onto Dartmouth. It's almost like a 45-degree angle, okay? And a person was coming from the other direction at her and opened fire. Basically, I think it was one shot. One shot, and she had...
That's another
difference
from all the other shootings.
Right. She put a book bag up, or books, actually, she's holding books, as a reflective kind of action. Okay, reflex, and shot through, with a 44 caliber, right through the book.
Yep.
So, and that's kind of depicted well in the Spike Lee movie, if you want to go talk about that for a second, because they do show up.
Not really,
but a little bit, just so you have a visual.
All right.
Just so you have a visual.
And this is another site that we went to, and we walk around, and it's another site that the person could also be hidden in bushes or whatever, because there was it was another site that wasn't well lit also, same thing. It was pretty dark, and you're walking, you take that corner, and then you're there, you could easily be there, boom.
Right.
But also the person was coming towards her.
Yeah.
So how much they were hiding
I don't think they were hiding
That's
much.
too much. Maybe for a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
Just until someone came along. Maybe. I don't know.
Right, and at 7 o'clock, the need to hide, it really wasn't there because people are, we're talking 3 blocks from one of the busiest thoroughfares in Queens,
which is amazing.
71st and Continental Avenue.
Right.
So, there's a lot of stores, as we talked about earlier. On the north side of the train tracks is
Austin Street.
There's a lot of businesses, a lot of bars, restaurants, bodegas. So people were walking around. So the need, like with this shooting, was again, someone with a gun is walking towards Virginia, and when it gets 3 feet in front of her, pulls the gun out and pulls the trigger, and just turned around and ran.
The shooter was described possibly as a teenage boy, unshaven, wearing a watch cap, woolen cap, and had basically turned around and ran back in this direction after the shooting, and was witnessed by a guy down on this corner here where there's a stop sign, approximately. Who that shooter was, we don't know. Now, Berkowitz was also spotted, right?
Yeah, so there was, I believe, a brother and sister were jogging.
Joggers,
and they lived. I believe they lived on Exeter,
which is close to here.
Yeah, which is about 2 blocks away, and they ran across. They passed a guy in a trench coat. Their description kind of matched David Berkowitz, and I believe back over here near the Christine Freund shooting, they passed this as the girl described it, a creepy looking guy in a trench coat, and they continued around and then ran down. Continued jogging down, what are we, Dartmouth?
Dartmouth, yes.
And about 3 blocks down on Dartmouth, they ran into the same creepy guy.
And they wondered how he got there so quick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the assumption is, being they were jogging, so they were moving at a fairly good pace. The assumption is there was a car up here with the creepy guy, which turned out
could be David Berkowitz.
There's a good chance it's Berkowitz. Got in the car, drove down closer to Voskerichian's house, where she was obviously heading after school.
Wow.
And then to go back to the shooting, after the shooting, the shooter turned around and ran the same direction, and about half a block away ran into the engineer, who gave the police a description of what he described as a teenage boy, 16, 17 years old, with the watch cap. And I believe the shooter said something like, "Oh, geez, mister," or shit, mister.
Oh, geez, like when they got spotted.
Right.
Yeah.
So so that happened. Obviously happened right after the shooting. So again, the assumption, based on everything we know, the getaway car, the shooter was running back to the getaway car, where Berkowitz was standing when the jogger saw Berkowitz. So,
which is why she ran back. Well, he ran back this way, okay, because the car would have been set up over there to get out of the neighborhood. Yep.
Right.
So it's a little different than the other shootings.
Let me ask you a weird question. You think you were also shot by this 16-year-old kid? Maybe?
Possible.
Because remember it must have been a weak clean that shot you, because you got the...
I mean, for my shooting, I've been told by, certainly by NYPD ballistics detective Quirk, that it was a 90-pound weakling or a female, and all points, everything points in the Voskerichian shooting. It points to a 16, 17-year-old boy or girl.
Yeah.
And
Easily could have been a girl.
the sketch that the engineer provided the police, it actually, to me, it looks more like a girl than a boy. But you know, so
7:30 at night, it might have been hard to tell. Maybe if things were dark there. At
yeah,
that spot.
and you know, with a cap on,
could hide the hair.
you hide the hair, so you really don't know. You know, I mean, the hair tells a lot. You know. I mean, the head tells a lot.
Sure.
You know, wearing a hat, hiding all your hair. There's a lot of guys that have. I'm not going to say feminine features, but there's certain facial looks that without the hair, it's like that could be a girl.
Could be a girl.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Also, with this, the two joggers that were jogging around the neighborhood, I think even before the shooting, had witnessed a person that wearing a trench coat, raincoat type thing that kind of looked like Berkowitz.
Right.
Okay, the description. And there was one point where they witnessed him,
In the beginning of the run,
beginning of their run, and then saw him again very quickly at a different intersection, closer to where the shooting was. That they recollected that how did he get there so quick?
Correct.
Okay, you know, and is he following? Maybe they were
Well, you have to
freaked
realize
out.
this brother and sister. I don't recall their names, but they're jogging. So obviously, you know, it's even a slow jog is faster than a walk.
Yeah.
And they leave their house and run to the corner and witness this creepy looking guy in a tan trench coat. And their description kind of matches Berkowitz. So we're, you know, at this stage of the game, I assume that it was Berkowitz.
And he did admit that he was there.
And he did admit he was there. And then they ran like 3 blocks, and if I'm not mistaken, they ran past the courtyard where the deal shooting took place, and then circled back and basically took the same route home. And that's when they you know, circled back, started their way home. That's when they ran into this creepy looking figure again, and the girl, you know, was kind of like, that's weird. You know, that's the guy we saw when we left the house. We've been running, and you know, 6 blocks later, he's standing there, not out of breath, not running, You know, didn't have a bike next to him, so
But he did have a car.
But he did have a car. But yeah, so
what's interesting about the car, okay, because when Berkowitz was caught at Pine Street at the end of the whole thing, he had the Ford Galaxy. I don't think there's any scene that places a Ford Galaxy there. No one ever noticed it.
No one ever noticed
any of the other shootings.
Right.
That would have been a good tip-off had they figured that out earlier, but
yeah,
never happened.
Yeah, and as far as I know, no other cars were identified. You know, in previous shootings there was a yellow
The Volkswagen.
Yellow Volkswagen. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
That was seen at 3 or 4 different the shooting scenes.
Right.
Well,
But there was also a yellowish, off yellow, cream colored Nova, or a Nova, as Maury put it, a Nova type car. So.
Could be a Chevelle.
Yeah, you know, I mean, a Nova is certainly not a Volkswagen, and it's certainly not a Berkowitz's car.
No, totally different shape.
Right, totally different shape. But no, as far as I know, no, none of those cars were seen at this scene.
Yeah.
But you know,
Never occurred to anybody.
it never occurred to anyone,
Yeah.
and that's unfortunate. That no one saw getaway cars.
It's very possible that, you know, he didn't always have it with him. He could have taken another car, or you know, he could have got a ride with somebody else.
they could have mixed it up with different cars.
different
also.
cars.
Right.
That might have been intentional too, and just
Well, going back to the first shooting, the Loria shooting, there was Berkowitz's car was there, the yellow Volkswagen was there, and
The Galaxy was there?
I believe the Galaxy was
But that was never part of the case, right? That they never said that. A Ford Galaxy was parked at the scene.
Yeah, you're right. Across the street was the Yellow Nova,
Okay.
but what came out of that, and again this is from Maury, that one of the people at the Lauria shooting, and we all know Berkowitz did the shooting, but
Yes.
there was 2 other cars there, obviously, so there had to be at least 2 drivers.
Sure.
Silverstein was supposedly in one of the cars at the Lauria shooting, and apparently him and or his wife owned a car service, and Berkowitz had mentioned that they used to borrow cars from a car service, so we're assuming it's the Silverstein.
They could have been
cars,
rentals.
right?
They could have been rentals.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
So just and again, we don't know the answer to this. It's just
all
an assumption on my
speculation. We
part
don't know.
that Berkowitz's car wasn't used that particular night. He hopped a ride with somebody else. If
Maybe he was. Maybe just and again.
maybe if the shooter was from Yonkers, maybe it was just easy for him to catch a ride with
with the person.
his compatriot.
If they were
from,
renting cars, he probably just didn't want to use his car all the time for safety reasons or
Yeah.
whatever. Interesting.
Yeah.
But she basically Virginia died instantly when she was shot, and at that location there was some shrubbery that would kind of hide somebody. Okay, but we don't know if she was really hiding or not.
If she was walking, the only reason she would have been hiding maybe to wait till the person came to that the other people, and then once she got her target, the person that was supposed to hit, she saw it, came right at her, boom, just go put the book, you get the fire, and the face exploded, and she goes
right,
down.
one thing that was never really delved into by the police, because there wasn't really an eyewitness, but the engineer was about a block away, half a block away.
Right.
It's never been mentioned, like, what kind of foot traffic there was that night at that time. Was there a lot of people going up and down? I mean, if there was, then I mean, you have to assume Virginia is walking home.
Yeah.
She's not stopping, waiting for something. She's just walking home. So, for someone to be hiding, to me, it doesn't make sense.
And again, it was someone they know was walking towards her. From the eyewitness, the engineer saw that person as well.
And if
from
somebody was
block
hiding,
before.
wouldn't that be more suspicious? Like if
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I just don't think there was this is one shooting where hiding just really, to me, doesn't play into the whole
No,
scene.
it just looks like it was to be random, and cross each other's paths and bang,
Right.
and that's it.
But the
One
thing
thing we
is-
haven't discussed is, Berkowitz has said that he was at all shootings. He said there was at least 4 or 5 people at each shooting. I believe that's a quote from him. We did ask him, or I did ask him, did you use, well, actually Howie asked him, did you use walkie-talkies? And he said no.
Right.
And remember I told you that Berkowitz had distinct tells when
Yes.
he was lying, when he wasn't telling.
Yes.
Well, this was definitely a lie. You could just look on it. He said no, but think about it. Why would you have lookouts? He already admitted he's a lookout. How would you get
communicate with each
How
other?
would you get in touch?
Yeah.
how would you get in touch with your
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 people,
coworkers? That the coast is clear, the coast isn't clear,
Yeah.
and bird calls.
I mean, and especially this would be in place at the Brooklyn shooting
Well,
because of the distance everybody ended
exactly.
up being at. They
Yeah.
had to be able to communicate.
But you know what? When they shot that girl, you know what? It was kind of you could actually do because you got the trees blocking and you're turning that corner.
Yeah.
So all you're gonna do is you're gonna hear the shot. You're not gonna see nobody because
Right.
it was so
It was
like
dark and
hidden and it was
everything.
dark and it was
And-
like You hit the angle, that's it.
Yeah, and I'm assuming the sidewalk
Yeah.
was as narrow today as it was then.
Yeah.
And, you know, because you have the curb, you have the little, whatever, greenway, whatever you call, you know,
Yeah.
and then the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And the sidewalk is,
Small.
it's very narrow, and
Yeah.
then you got these 6-foot tall bushes.
Yeah.
There's, you know, you almost feel like you're in a corridor.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to leave this here for now and continue.